yesterday's game, and I guess what is your the Oklahoma State game, sorry, and what is your takeaway from watching what happened?
Yeah, we watched it, and of course, you learn from it and you move on. We gotta communicate more on defense. We had some mishaps, so really it was just about us getting back to being who we were from that Kansas game. We kind of lost that, really.
Yeah, you've been playing with a little bit more. You've been playing pretty well this season. What's gotten into you this season? Why have you taken this step?
Honestly, just stepping up. Last year, best year. Jana going out, just made me want to step up and just be there for my teammates.
Sarah, when you look at that game, because you guys pride yourself on defense, so do you feel like that's kind of where it started, was on the defensive end? Because usually defense creates offense. I think they shot 77% in the second half.
Yeah, we get started on offense with our defense, and understanding that anytime anybody plays Baylor, the ball goes in, no matter who it is, everybody's gonna make every shot against us. So I think we let them have some open shots, and once they hit like the first few, the rim was really big for them, and they knocked down shots all night. But we never contested shots. We never made them do anything different. So we got to get back to being the Baylor defense we were.
Yes, sir. The Big 12 schedule is pretty quick. You turn right around and there's another game. What have you learned over the years about channeling a loss, learning from it, but also flushing it quickly into something positive?
You got to understand, in the Big 12, I think, we preach that records don't matter. Everybody's good in the Big 12 and can be beat on any given night, and understanding that we got to take care of our bodies in this time of the season. So just really emphasizing that, hey, one loss doesn't determine what we can do in the Big 12, because there's still hope that somebody's going to knock them down or somebody else is going to lose. So we still have a chance to win the Big 12.
For both of you guys, just kind of early impressions on Colorado. What do you see for them, and kind of what challenges do they present?
I feel like they play with a lot of pace. We got to be talking on defense way more, rebound.
Yeah, I think, they're not going to beat themselves. We're going to have to come out there and beat them. They play a little bit like Oklahoma State. They're going to play a little tough, and they're going to, give us their best game. That's what everybody does in this league, is give us their best game. So just us starting it with defense and, throwing the first punch this game.
Yeah, and then after a game like the Oklahoma State one, just kind of how ready are you to get back out there and kind of get that taste out of y'all's mouth?
I'm super ready. Oklahoma State was kind of embarrassing, so just wanted to come back from that and dominate.
I heard Coach Nicki say on the postgame radio show that she thought Oklahoma State's physicality affected you, that you did not respond to how physical they were. What is your response to that thought?
I think to a certain degree we didn't. I think, we let them push us off the screens, and we didn't necessarily get to our spots. I think, coming off the break a little bit affected us, coming off that Christmas Eve break or whatever, New Year's, kind of getting back into the swing of things. But I think, we didn't be who we are. I think that's what we stepped away from. We didn't swing the ball. We didn't move the ball and be the Baylor offense that we normally are.
Sarah, has Nettie given you guys any extra scouting for Colorado, and what does this game mean for her as what she played there?
I mean, she may have given us a little bit, but whenever you transfer somewhere, you always want to show, you always want to dominate the school you came from and show why you went where you went. She came here to win and to hang a championship. So I think coming out this game is going to be personal for her.
Obviously, that was Aaliyah's first game, struggled. Do you expect to see more of who she is, maybe even starting with this game? Either one of y'all.
For sure. I think she's just getting the hang of things. It's not going to come fast. She's getting used to everything, so I think she'll be okay. Thank you. Perfect.
Stew on it for, I don't know how many, 36 hours, and then move on today. So I would say I was prepared to be over it yesterday and wasn't. And I know myself well enough to know that, I thought there were a lot of lessons from that game. I often say the film is never as bad or never as good as you think, and it was pretty bad. So I think that's probably why I stewed a little longer. I don't know which was worse, our offense or our defense. But, I thought that there were two things that disappointed me the most about that game. One was how we let our offense affect our defense. I thought that was the first thing. We're a program that isn't defined by one or the other, but I do believe we're at our best when we're defending, we're getting stops, we're getting in transition. Turnovers, no turnovers. It's not about the creation of turnovers. It's about the creation of possessions and not taking the ball out of the net. And so that was frustrating. And then I thought the other thing that I was most frustrated by was our lack of discipline in fouling. And I thought against Kansas, we got away with it because we did so many things right in terms of our preparation, our game plan defense, our execution at the offensive end, regardless of how they played us. But we fouled too much, and I thought our foul discipline wasn't good, and it wasn't just not good on drives. It wasn't good. We'd go to the boards, we don't get the ball gets knocked out of our hands, we slap them, they're 84 feet from the basket. We set illegal screens that don't need to be set. Like, we don't teach them that way. So whether they were frustration, whether it was hard because they did an elite job of getting underneath screens on Jada. So it was hard to screen them because they were really vocal, really early, diving under screens. And so you sometimes just got to let it go. You're not going to get a clean screen every time. What we can't do, because that affects everything from team fouls to when teams get in the bonus to who's sitting on the bench, when they're sitting on the bench, why they're sitting on the bench. And so I thought those were our two biggest lessons from that game. We can't let our offense affect our defense. And not get back and have a missed shot turn into a three at the other end. And then we have to have better foul discipline. I think those are the two key things. I think the rest of it we can get better at. The rest of it we can be better in our ball screen coverage. We can be better at our execution. We can do all those things. But I think those were the big lessons from that game for me, for our team.
You've got a lot of seniors and experienced players on this team. What sort of response do you expect from them, and do you think they've kind of taken heed to your message after that game?
Yeah, I think it's always hard to know until you play the next game. I certainly think we rebounded against Indiana and played remarkably better against Villanova. I think it was like a different situation with Oregon just because of the nature of our schedule and who we were facing. After that, it was easier to get well. And I think you just don't want it to turn into the road trip last year with KU and Iowa State. Now, I thought our response at Iowa State was actually really good. We had a 1-point lead with 30 seconds to go. So it wasn't like we went up to Iowa State and tucked our tail between our legs and said, hey, we don't want to play. This team will come out and play hard. I thought I was most happy with Sarah Andrews' response in practice yesterday. I think she competed at a high level. Everything was competitive yesterday. Everything was green versus white. We admittedly, like all teams over Christmas break, miss our practice squads. We get very in tune to utilizing them for everything. It's just like, it's kind of a beautiful thing. So, there's a different level of talking, chippiness, whatever, that is actually pretty good for our players when they have to compete against one another.
And then looking ahead looking to the Colorado game.
Tomorrow. Let's play them tomorrow, 2:00.
I'll be there.
Okay, great. Me too.
What does this game mean to Nettie? Obviously, coming from there and obviously playing a big role for you. Does this have a little bit more importance for her at all?
Probably. The one thing I'm not going to do is make too big of a deal out of it. I always say there's two things that happen in these situations. When you're in the pros and you have a player that got traded, like I remember having this conversation with Queen when Indiana traded her to Washington, and she was really upset. And I said, you got traded to a better situation. If nothing else, you're going to get a playoff bonus. You know, like there are things that you should see the silver lining in everything. But ultimately, you can look at it one of two ways at that level. You can look at it like this team didn't believe in me and traded me, or you can look at it like, hey, someone traded for me and they gave up a veteran to get me. And I think so often in those situations, there's a little extra, and players either play really, really well or they play really, really poorly because it's too emotional. So I try not to put too much, especially in a day and age now. You know, when we went to media day, Nettie saw all her old coaches because she played for Adia her freshman year at Arizona. So, like, are we going to talk about this again next week? Is there a little bit more? I don't know the answer to that, other than I think she made a name for herself at Colorado and had a lot of success. You know, for this team, we need to play better. We need to protect home court. We need to go 2-1 to start Big 12 play, and we have a lot of respect for what they've done. Their upset of West Virginia, which, quite frankly, I think any team's good enough to beat anybody else, so I don't look at those as – I know from a ranking perspective it's an upset, but I thought Colorado played really, really well against West Virginia. I thought they played really well against TCU. It was a grinded-out, low scoring. They kept it close. They made TCU played a second and third actions, and that's a really high-powered offense with 5 players who can shoot the three at TCU. So I think they know who they are, and you know, I want Nettie to play basketball. You know, like I think the game can be emotional enough. So hopefully her teammates, it's more about her teammates wanting to help her. Than it is about her having a little bit of extra. I think she didn't have a bad experience at Colorado. Like, this isn't one of those, like, they treated her poorly. Like, those are good people. J.R. Payne, that she's a good coach. You know, and she gave Nettie an opportunity to kind of put herself in position to be successful, to be on draft boards, to be in position to be recruited by Baylor and South Carolina and everybody else in the portal. So, yeah, I just think we're going to respect them.
What kind of team is Colorado? What do they do well?
Yeah, I think we've faced a lot of elbow. They probably run more of the chin stuff than some of the teams we've played, kind of the traditional Princeton and then into the elbow. I think they space the floor really well. I think they've gotten contributions around. I think they have versatility and switchability, and you know, a lot of players we've seen, whether it's Garzon or Dew in the league, you know, and so you talk about Nettie, and you just think Garzon played at Villanova, she played at Oklahoma State, now she's at Colorado. This is college athletics right now. Dew played at Butler, then Iowa State, then Colorado. So this is the norm more than the exception anymore, and so I think they're a team that's come together really, really well. In terms of figuring out when you have like 10 new players on your roster. That's a unique challenge early in the season to figure things out. But I think, you know, defensively it starts with Weta. You know, she gets after it. She averages more assists than points. You know, she's a point guard that wants to get shots for everyone else. She's a little Jaden Owens-like for Baylor people in terms of her ability to play downhill, score at the rim, but wanting to spray it out and find other people. She gets after it defensively. She's going to chase the ball. You know, I think they're going to play with TCU. They didn't guard Emma Nopu at the 4 and challenge her to shoot threes. You know, like they're going to play off some non-shooters. They're going to, you know, do some things that we're seeing. You know, we saw that with Oklahoma State. We saw that with Kansas. I thought Nettie against Kansas did a really good job of making quick moves before double teams could get there. I thought she struggled to finish, you know, on Wednesday, but so they're going to do some of those things. Like, we're at the point where everybody scouts at an elite level and they know what they want to give you and what they want to take away, and so I think they've been a team that believes they can hold teams in the 50s and play low-scoring basketball. And you know, when you have shooters like Foreman and Garzon that can get hot, you've got to take away the arc against them, which we didn't do against Oklahoma State.
You mentioned really liking Sarah's response in practice. Just how much of a catalyst is she for the rest of the team in kind of responding and just that leadership that she shows?
Sarah's been doing this a long time, and she's been doing it at Baylor. And I think that's the unique thing about Sarah. Like, she's won a lot of basketball games. She's hit big shots in basketball games. You know, and so I think there's whether she wants to lead or she doesn't, her teammates are going to follow her, you know, and I think that's a lot of pressure sometimes, you know, but when Sarah shows up and leads, we're a better basketball team. And because she does have the respect because of her success, because of her ability, and because she's been here long enough to have a voice. Sarah knows our stuff better than anybody else, and it's not close. Sarah knows what I want. She knows why I want it. We have other people that still try to figure out what I want and when I want it, you know. And so I think when Sarah leads, it's easy for her teammates to follow. And so, you know, and it's not easy to have that on your back all the time. But, you know, that's what you sign up for. One, when you play at Baylor, and two, when you're in the position she's in as a point guard type.
I'm going to preface my question with a couple of stats. Started the second half 1 of 11 shooting. Bella and Bugs were a combined 6 of 26. So are you concerned at all with shot selection?
Always concerned with shot selection. I'm also not someone that pulls people very often for shot selection. I believe you sometimes have to let them take a bad shot to give them the confidence to make a tough shot when you need a shot. I'm more apt to take people out when they're tired, if they don't defend, if they don't rebound, if they don't do what they're being asked to do. I can live with an occasional bad shot. I don't think Bugs were bad shots. I don't think she finished through contact. You know, I think she got shots around the rim that she always gets. You know, like I thought in the first half, maybe the crossover pull-up jump shot might have been a little bit much. But honestly, like I thought early when you look at shot selection to start the third, Sarah missed a breakaway layup. You know, Nettie missed a shot at the rim. Bella missed a shot at the rim. Yaya missed a shot at the rim. Like, you know, we got to be tough enough to get and ones or draw a foul and play off two. And I thought when we drove, when rotation came, we tried to throw it up and play around their post kid as opposed to playing off two, getting her off her feet, drawing a foul, jump stopping, kicking, one more, which is what we did at an elite level against Kansas. Like, we did a better job of moving the basketball. And so I don't think that our shot selection was terrible in that stretch. I thought our ability to finish wasn't good. And then I thought our response to those misses was the problem. You can take those shots if you get back on D. You can take those, you know, like I just felt like our response to that run was not good. It wasn't like when you look at the second quarter, we were an offensive juggernaut. We just guarded, you know, like, and then we made enough plays to get back in the game and have an open three to take the lead going into half because of execution, because of a one more pass. So we have to be better at being us and not thinking like, I'm going to make the play. I'm going to, but that was my frustration, was simply that we allowed those missed shots. We allowed our shot getting blocked. And you can go back. I mean, we've sent some clips in. Like, we got pushed in the back. But we're in the Big 12 now. It's you know, you got to play through those. They didn't call every foul on us either, you know. I just thought because of our lack of foul discipline, we made them call fouls. You know, they played through our chest. Staley Hurd played through our chest. Wooten played through our chest. Aussie played. They played through our chest, and then we slapped down at the end. And I don't think they did that. I just thought they were physical with their lower bodies. I thought they were sneaky from behind. So, you know, like, we have to be tough enough to draw fouls when we get in the lane.
Kyla has been Nettie's primary backup. I thought Madison came in the second quarter and played some really good defense against Oklahoma State. I guess, how would you assess kind of the 5 position behind Nettie and kind of your reserves in that area?
Yeah, I think Kyla is still trying to figure out how to play in big games. And I think, you know, she has to own her strengths and like really, really own them. It's setting good screens. I thought she set a really good drag screen when she was in, but she's got to be elite in her ball screen coverage. She needs to be someone that we can go to against size in the post, and make a difference on the glass. You know, I think she just needs to know, like, my frustration with Kyla was minimal, honestly. I thought she played hard. I just thought, hey, we were supposed to be passing and ball screening, not DHOing, so they could just exchange it. And like, she didn't do the little things that I thought she needed to do. I thought her screen and roll, when she missed the layup, she got hit on the head. I mean, it's that simple. But you have to get and ones in that situation. But there's no doubt that the contest hit her in the head on her missed layup. And so, you know, but I want her to own what she's good at. And if she does those things, if she defends, if she rebounds, if she runs, you know, like, then she has opportunity to play and make a difference. I think with Madison has physical limitations, but understands the game and has played in a lot of games in college basketball against a lot of really good teams and does not have fear of whoever we're playing, you know? Like, Madison's just had a lot of injury problems since we've had her. And, you know, I thought Madison was having a great summer, and then her back hurt, and then she missed 2 weeks, and then she got into the fall, and we went through a myriad of issues that scares me, you know, that it takes one bump and we're losing her for a month, you know? And so you have to be prepared. Like, I want to count on her, but I'm scared to count on her because of, like, the physical history. But I think what she does is she understands how to play drop coverage in a ball screen and do it really, really well. Now, when she's guarding a 6'6" kid, can she physically handle that? No. Like, I mean, I think there's that understanding of, you know, when you play in the Missouri Valley Conference, you don't play a lot of 6'6" kids. Like, she struggled last year when she had to guard size, and that's why Kyla has to own, like, that. So I think they can be a good balance for one another. Madison has the ability to shoot the three. You know, she's gonna set good screens. She's gonna know our plays. She's not gonna, you know, like, she's not gonna make those type of mistakes. She just is gonna have physical limitations because of her size. You know, sometimes on 5 players, and probably doesn't have the athleticism to guard a lot of 4s. So, you know, it's kind of that. You know, can she be effective enough offensively? Can we trade 3 for 2? Can we bring help and understand where help needs to come from? You know, when she's in at the 5, and help her out. So I think they're both capable of helping us. What I would like Nettie to do is not be in foul trouble so that I don't have that question mark all the time.
Nicki, I don't know what your expectations were for Aaliyah, but can you assess, like, her shot selection? And then with her, will it just take time, chemistry with the other players to kind of get her game going back? Because you've seen it in the past. Yeah,
she had no idea what she was doing. Like, from ball screen coverage to, you know, spacing to, and it's not because of a lack of, like, studying. She's been in our playbook more than any kid since I've been here. But there's a difference, you know, like, not everyone can watch it and then just do it and understand it and do it from this position and this position. And, so I think for her, was she the reason for anything in that game? No. Do I think she can be a really key factor for us by February? Yes. But I do think it's going to take time. And I was just hopeful that the whole idea of not knowing what you're doing, sometimes you just play and you make plays. I thought she made some good decisions. I thought she made some poor decisions. Like, I think there's a balance there. I've said it before. Like, I think she may have felt at times a little boxed in at Texas, but she was super efficient and super effective playing with other really great players. And being really good at what she did, whether it was coming off staggers and making shots, getting downhill in the dribble drive. I thought at Florida, her usage rate was second in the country. And she took a lot of shots, good shots, bad shots. Like, she needed to be a playmaker for them. We got to get her to be a balance of those two. We're going to put her on more ball screens than maybe she was in at Texas. But we also don't need her to take step back 17-foot pull-ups, when she's 0 for 3. Like, it's kind of that feel of, okay, I'm not somebody that's going to say you can never take a tough shot, but like, we probably shouldn't be 0 for 4 taking a tough shot. That should be a heat check. Against Kansas, Jada hit a couple threes, and then I'm like, okay, girl, okay, you had your heat check. Now let's move the basketball. It's kind of like understanding your players. I think Colorado's going to leave Jada to double. She's probably going to have to step into a 3 and make one. Like, I want her to be confident and do that. She's shooting over 40%. If she takes the right threes, Jada's going to make shots. If she takes too many, it's going to play into what, oftentimes an opponent wants her to do. Like, we need her to get to rhythm shots. We need Bugs to get to rhythm shots when people, help off her. It's hard to throw the high-low pass when people drop off you, and dare you to shoot it. So it's got to be that balance of swing it, I take it right away. But I've never seen a player be good when they hesitate to take a shot. Like, I thought Bugs had one of those against Oklahoma State. It's kind of like, if you got to jab and shoot it when there's no one up guarding you, then it's not the shot. Like, a jab is to get the defense off you. If the defense is already off of you, there's no reason to jab, So it's kind of like that to me is like, you do that when you're trying to decide whether you should shoot it or not. And if you have to think about whether you should shoot it or not, you shouldn't shoot it. So I think those are important plays for both of those players when it comes to how teams defend them. Because the reality is, Jade is shooting a really good percentage, but coaches play career percentages. They don't play they look at it and say, do I want Nettie to get an easy 2, or do I want to make Jada prove time and time again? Now, if she proves it, then you go guard those, you go guard them. But coaches tend to play career percentages, and what they've seen other people do and be successful versus just looking at the box score and saying, okay, this player shoots. People are guarding Bella, and Bella's shooting the worst on our team from 3. And it's not close, right? But people still, they don't let her just shoot the 3. They still guard her to the arc because of a respect of what she's capable of.
Last one.
I know we're asking a lot of questions, but I got one more. I think you played more zone against Oklahoma State than you have all year. Was that because of Nettie foul trouble, trying to stop their, what I call, straight line drives to the basket? What was your reasoning for more zone?
Yeah, I'm with you on the straight line drives. We use the same terminology. Some of it was, and by a lot of zone, we probably played 8 possessions of zone. So it's lot is relative. But I think there were some lineups they went to. I thought the second quarter was when you saw the most zone. Aussie was in foul trouble. They didn't have Micah Gray in the game, who's a high volume shot taker and potential maker for them. So some of it was lineup driven. Some of it was just we just didn't we didn't get around screens. We did not get around their ball screens, and that puts you into. I mean, you can ball screen a zone. Don't get me wrong, but it looks different. Your exchanges are different. You know, it's your posts aren't up there calling the screen. It's usually the second guard. It's so I think it was to shift. You know, like they had played, I think, 0.7% zone on the season, and they played more zone against us than the first possession of the game. Out of every ATO, if it was our ball, they went zone for one possession. Like, we didn't see it a lot, but they did it very situationally. Like, okay, Nicki's called to play. We're not going to let them run that play because we're going to come out in a zone, you know? So it can be very strategic that way as well. You're welcome.